Well, in this demo, I want to focus the discussion on what it means to use the Metadata Manager and the concept of changelist. Now, I logged in as training, and I have the TRN lab, and it is empty. For those of you that saw the previous demo to this, the one in which I show you how to create an empty ORS, you will realize that I did have lots of based objects. This was a fully developed demo, but in the previous demo, I actually reset it by recreating an ORS, and so I showed you how to create a brand new ORS. Now, notice that it's empty. Perhaps I should not have done that, but that is what I wanted to do because I feel confident that Metadata Manager will allow me to bring it back in. Now, in Metadata Manager, there's a separate reference book just to talk about this. In general, it's where you validate your metadata and also promote, which means incremental changes to the existing ORS, or import or export from an existing ORS. So the first thing I want to do is select my TRN lab and validate it. Remember that this is empty, and so it'll validate. It'll have some warnings because it's going to say that there are some tables that are in the physical database but not in the metadata, and that's true. I explained in other demos that the course writer has put our source data, the CRM and sales data, in the same ORS, which is a no-no, but for course it's okay for course purposes. So those are the warnings. Otherwise I could not do an import or export if they had been fatal errors. So what I can do is promote or import. Now let's do a promote. The course writer in the instructions will tell you that if you fall behind in your labs, you could actually go and grab an existing lab change list where the course writer has put them under the C drive, under the Info MDM, oops, not there, under the MDM training, nice big directory, finally change list. So the course writer has put incremental change list, and notice the name of the file, your name, period, change.xml. In other words, you can pick the name that you want, but the system will generate a .change.xml file. It is an XML file in it, and then you can actually grab whichever demo lab you are, select it, and in this case we said that we're going to apply these changes to it. Now notice I'm not actually going to execute this because I just want a demo. So this is that XML file. That change list contains various objects, and if you wanted to, we can select the ORS, and only those would be imported. So if you do fall behind in your labs and you say, well, I don't understand lab 7, let me import it. This is the way to do it. Or if you completely have an issue, you would do as I did in the previous demo, create a brand new ORS and then bring in all the change lists. Now, I'm not going to do it this way because remember that in the previous demo I exported before I actually reset my ORS. So I want to go ahead and import it. So I will click import. And in this case, I put mine under the temp directory, and here it is. So select it. And this is the complete change list with all my work. And then the target is my target ORS. And notice you can actually select what is it that you want. You can select everything or just as much as you want. You see the source systems, you see the repository settings. So you can select, in this case I want everything, and notice on the right hand side you have an apply, you have a rename, expand the node, minimize it so you can actually see what's in it, and if you're comfortable with this we can actually now click the apply changes. So this is one way to do it. The other way would be to promote a change. So what I'm going to do is actually go ahead and apply and cross my fingers. If I have errors then I'll just redo this from scratch, but here it goes. Now notice it says full rollback or rollback to last change. I want a full rollback. And validate data integrity. I'll say yes, but normally you can say no. Now notice that rollback. That's important because if something goes wrong, I want to roll back to the beginning. I have nothing, so I won't really lose too much. Now, if we were promoting, we would get another screenshot in case there were conflicts. Let's assume someone created a based object called customer, and you already have one in there. Promote means incremental changes, so it would ask Do you want to replace it, rename it, etc.? Here I'm not going to have that issue because I have an empty ORS and I'm actually importing everything that was in the change list. It just so happens that before I had reset it, I actually had exported it just in case something went wrong. So there it is, it's done. Now what I'm going to do is go to Schema Viewer, select my ORS, and we should see my contents. There it is. Notice my based objects are back. Notice my systems, everything is back as I had it. There they go, my trust, so my packages, and so forth. So that pretty much means that I was able to say, for example, go from a development to a test to a production environment. If you're really going to do this, I encourage you to read up on the notes, but this is in general how you would bring objects from one ORS into another. In my case, and to summarize, I had an existing ORS, I created it anew, which means I resetted it, got rid of everything. Prior to it, I had backed it up, and now I just imported it. And the last piece is the incremental change that I was talking about a few moments ago. Now that I have things, I could go ahead and select an existing change list from the course writer. Again, the course writer wants me to get it from the MDM training, config, setup, and change list. And again, picking whatever lab you want. I'm just choosing anything. It doesn't really matter right now. Well, I'm just picking one of them, and then I'm going to click OK. And my target, same thing. And oops, it needs to be validated. So I need to validate my ORS. So I should have gone here first. Notice how Metadata Manager works. So first it wants you to have a valid ORS before you can import or export out of it. So hopefully this doesn't take too long. Validate it. And now I'm going to go ahead and exactly where I was, go ahead and select the same change list that I was in. And now probably the hardest thing is getting to the deep nested location of where these files are. And again, pick any one, doesn't matter. Now here's a change list. Of course, you would be more wise to choose the right one instead of just any. And at this point, notice on the left hand side is what's in the change list. On the right hand side, it is what's already in my target ORS. And again, you can actually promote it, view with a markup, you can resolve the conflicts, and you can apply it. So it depends what you want to do, promote it or apply changes. And you can do this. I'll let you, oops, no objects were selected. Let me just select a few objects. And again, I won't take you this far now. This is in your labs. But again, you can promote it or apply the changes. I don't want to do this. Why? Because I already have mine already exactly to where I want it. And also, you'll be doing this in the lab. So this concludes this demonstration, and thank you.